In a chilling case that has gripped South Africa, Sifiso Mkhwanazi, a 21-year-old man, enticed 6 vulnerable sex workers to his father's panel beating workshop in Johannesburg, where he committed heinous acts of violence between April and October 2022. Under the guise of seeking their services, Mkhwanazi tied them up, raped, and ultimately strangled them, leaving their bodies to decompose in a shocking display of brutality. This is what Sifiso's father had to say.
It's been almost about 2 years now. It's coming to about 2 years. The caretaker called me in the morning and then told me that there is a funny smell. He had come to wash his car. So he called me, I came, it was Sunday, and we tried to investigate, me and him, and then that's where we found there was a body that was in a room. So we called the police. Then when we asked the security what happened, they said they saw the boy who was apparently sentenced. They said they saw him with that lady who was being murdered.
But before we continue with this brutal case, make sure you support us here at the Dark Hidden Files by liking the video and also subscribe so that you don't miss out on the upcoming episodes. Sifiso admitted to fetching the sex workers at their place of work, taking them to a location where he could access their services and subsequently killing them. He claimed that the murders were not premeditated but rather instinctive, as he believed he needed to eliminate a recurring problem. His first victim was Chihota Nyarai, whom he shot once on the left side of the head. He then strangled her with an arm choke, covered her face and neck with a blue cloth, and tied a belt over the cloth around her neck. He wrapped her corpse in a duvet and concealed it in a white panel van parked outside the premises. Sifiso also choked his third victim, putting a rolled up part of a cardigan in her mouth and wrapping the cardigan over her mouth and neck. He covered her face with a t-shirt and wrapped a pair of leggings over the t-shirt. Another victim, identified as Joyce Moyo, was also strangled. Sifiso tied a cloth over her mouth, nose and neck, then placed the body in a transparent plastic bag and concealed it behind the scrap metal in the yard, leaving it there for discovery. The decomposed bodies were found after police were called to the building due to the foul smell emanating from one of the rooms. One of the women was fatally shot in the head as previously stated, while the remaining 5 were allegedly choked to death. According to the police, 2 of the victims were pregnant. Sifiso's 4th victim, Patricia Makaiza, was strangled until she was unconscious. He covered her face with a cloth and tied a rope over the cloth around her neck. He initially placed the body in a drum full of old oil to conceal it, but later removed it when it did not fit and left it in the yard.
And then the police was here all day. They discovered the body. And then all of a sudden about 2 o'clock they left. So when we're busy trying to see if we get the place cleaned up, that's where we found out there is more bodies down the other 3, 4, 5 bodies, plus the one that make it 6. So the police had to.
During the trial, Mkhwanazi confessed to his father, Mark Khumalo, that he was responsible for the death of 6 women, although he claimed that the murders were not premeditated. The lead investigator, Bongani Mbonambi, testified in court that all the victims had been bound, gagged, and strangled, suggesting a calculated approach that supports his belief that the murders were indeed premeditated. Mbonambi further stated that the evidence and the context of the 6 deaths indicated that Mkhwanazi was seeking revenge against the women due to previous rape accusations made against him. At the age of 18, Sifiso engaged the services of a sex worker, claiming they had a mutual agreement regarding payment. However, the sex worker allegedly changed her mind and demanded a higher fee. When Sifiso refused to comply, she reportedly filed a rape accusation against him, leading to his arrest and a 10-month imprisonment. He stated in 2021 I was charged with the rape of a sex worker and spent 10 months in jail until the complainant retracted her statement, resulting in my release. I maintained that I did not commit rape. We had an agreement that I would pay her for sex. After our encounter, I paid her as agreed, but she later insisted on more money. When I declined, she falsely accused me of rape. Sifiso noted that a similar situation occurred with the 6 sex workers whose remains were discovered at his father's panel beating workshop, suggesting a pattern of revenge from April to October 2022. His defense lawyer, contended that Sifiso killed the sex workers because they increased their fees and he feared another arrest. However, Judge Musa questioned this reasoning, asking why didn't he avoid the sex workers after the first incident. Maqetuka explained that Sifiso was provoked each time by the fear of being arrested for rape again, particularly when the sex workers demanded more money. While he confessed to the crimes, citing revenge for a previous arrest, he admitted that had the police not intervened, the killings would have continued. Judge Kasim Musa sentenced Mkhwanazi to life imprisonment for each murder count, 15 years for each rape count, 10 years for each incident of obstructing justice, 5 years for theft, 10 years for illegal possession of a firearm, and 5 years for illegal possession of ammunition. Judge Musa labeled Mkhwanazi as a dangerous individual whose arrogance poses a threat to society. The numerous charges stem from the discovery of 6 female bodies at his father's panel beating shop.